What's happening? I'm GB. Got Brian. I got Coop. What's up? What's up? What's up?
Man,
Going
we
on?
back. How you
Man,
doing?
we're
All
back. It's
right.
the Sports Counterpoints podcast. Today is October 13th, 2022. We're talking about the last NFL week. We're talking about including our teams, right? The Vikings, the Niners, and the Raiders. Davante and that situation, referees and their impact on the game currently. And then I want to ask them a question about basketball. So starting with NFL teams recap, man. Let's just start in the corner. Coop, let's start with your Niners beat the Panthers easily, and we'll go around. What you thought?
Yeah, I don't really have too much thought on the game. Carolina's just not a very good team. After that, they fired their coach. I know we talked about that on text chain. Matt Rule will be going back to college with his $40 million he's receiving from the
Woo,
Panthers and getting another seven-figure job with some college, probably Oklahoma. But
big bread.
I don't take too much from the Carolina game, except we got more starters out. So now that's nine. We had, I
Oh,
think,
yikes.
five. We had five starters out. We're not even playing with our full squad. We haven't been, and now we got four more guys that's out. So
Second most injured team in football.
yeah,
Damn.
I think we're the most injured.
Yikes.
If they redo them. But we play Atlanta, and people don't understand that game. If people are just automatically picking San Francisco, I'm like, with all those starters out on the defensive side for San Francisco, that game's gonna be a lot closer. I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta actually won that game. To be honest
Oh
with
wow.
you, in Atlanta,
Okay.
we're beat up. I know I told you guys earlier. I think we're going to lose D'Amico Ryan. He didn't want to interview for head coaching jobs last year.
Yeah.
Credit to him. He said he wanted to just get a little bit better at what he does and understand a little bit the head coaching position. But I think we're going to lose him. I like him better than Salah. I think D'Amico will actually be successful. I'm not really too sure about Salah, but I think D'Amico will be successful if he's a head coach. But if he can patchwork this defense we got right now with backups, mainly backups now, and still keep us competitive, I mean, more power to him. He should get an opportunity. But yeah, I don't take too much for Carolina except the injuries, man. That's it. Now, I don't know if you guys watched the game, but that's all I take from it.
I
Yeah, I
watched parts of
watched
it.
the game, but
Yeah.
it wasn't one I was paying super close attention to. I don't understand how this was the game that got Matt Rule fired. I'm not saying he shouldn't have been fired
Mm-hmm.
or
Sure.
that he was all that great, but
Mm-hmm.
losing to a
Yeah.
playoff level team on the same game while losing, your backup quarterback who is awful, or not having him play in Baker Mayfield, and PJ Walker. Christian McCaffrey hasn't been good for years, so I don't know why.
It's good in
What?
spurts, fantasy
Yeah,
wise.
he's talented, but he
Yeah.
hasn't done anything.
Well, I'm surprised he's lasted
Um,
this long. Actually, he hasn't gotten hurt yet. But yeah.
Yeah. Knock on wood.
well, he only gets 14 carries for 54 yards. It's easy to keep him healthy. You just,
Don't get hit.
but anyways, I just don't understand how that's the thing that gets him fired. Now, I will say that the best job in sports is a fired coach, football coach. I mean, Matt Rule gets $40 million to sit on a couch.
Crazy.
And when some college team decides to bring him in there, thinking that he can make them Baylor, a team that brought him to 11-1, never beat another ranked team. So someone will bring him in there, and he'll go and do. But he's got $40 million in the bank for doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah. The thing about when these guys go back to college, though, your NFL resume does not matter at
Yeah.
all. It's what you
That's
did
good.
while you were in college. That's all they
Yeah.
care about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he'll
Good for
definitely
them.
get another
In college,
job.
it's can you recruit?
Right.
And he
Right.
proved he can recruit in
Right.
Baylor, and I'm
Right.
sure he's still got the phone numbers to whichever assistant coach they're going to call an assistant coach whose only job it is to recruit, like Ed Ogeron's was at USC.
Mhm. He's a good one
They'll
too.
call him anything.
Yeah.
They'll call him assistant offensive coordinator
Yeah.
or associate head coach, but their job is just to recruit. And as long as you got that guy's name and you can call him up and he's still got contacts, you can be a coach in the college.
Yeah. Glenn,
Yeah.
any thoughts on the game?
I didn't get to watch much of it. We were celebrating. Shout out to Flora and Alex, their wedding. So I was coming back from the Bay, and I was hanging out with mom and them. So it was on kind of in the background. I saw like the end. I mean, it's the Niners defense is crazy. So, and now I didn't know they lost, excuse me, that many players, but to
Including
me, their
Bosa.
defense always gives you a chance, man. I didn't know Bosa and all them were out. So that, like you said, I hadn't even thought about that. They could lose that game.
Yeah.
Atlanta's scrappy and hungry. Like they could get it. They got to play good still, right? Because it's
Yeah.
still, I think the Niners have a squad, but yeah, I didn't even know that. That's tough. Hopefully those
Yeah.
guys aren't out too long because that's to me, the Niners' only hope, right?
Yeah, we lost our starting corner. He's gone for the season. Bosa's out. We already had Armstead and Kinlaw starting D tackles out. So
Damn.
his backups out there, man.
This is the week. I mean, you don't need all those folks to beat up
Yeah.
I think so.
on Atlanta.
You don't
I
need
think
them
so.
out a long time though. I think you
No,
got
no. You definitely need them back
couple
for
weeks
future games. But
quickly.
this should be
Yeah.
one of those games where you can sneak by a little depleted.
I hope
Yeah.
so.
What happened? What happened to the Vikings? What'd y'all do?
We did what we always do. We found a way to win a game we had no business in winning.
Because they're gonna win a division. That's why. Division winners.
I don't know if they're going to win a division,
He's been
but
saying it.
their schedule is certainly working out for them, right? A very hot Miami team this week, but we'll talk about that when we get into this week. For last week, look,
Oh, they had the Bears.
once again, we were playing a team that isn't very good, that probably looks better on paper with the two wins that they had. We just all got finished watching tonight on Thursday Night Football for yet another epically bad game to watch.
Terrible.
But the Bears, they're not a team that's there yet. And I'm not saying that the Bears are going nowhere, because they're trying to build. But in Montgomery, I think David Montgomery and Khalil Herbert are actually both pretty solid running backs. I think the team has pieces, but it's not a team that anyone should be worried about if you're going to win a division, which Jason thinks the Vikings are going to do. But it is a game that we should have won, and I said that last week. This is a game we're gonna look like we should win and find some way to sneak one out. But we needed a late last run touchdown to beat a bad team, and that's what we did. The week before, we beat New Orleans without half the offense, and this time we beat a bad team barely, and in all likelihood, we'll probably find a way to do it again this week against a third-string rookie quarterback.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I got to
Okay.
give the Vikings a break, which is the reason why I'm taking the Jets against Green Bay in my point spread league. Whenever these teams come back from London and they don't have a bye, they seem to play a little bit worse. They don't want the
Yeah.
bye. They have an option for the bye. And Minnesota decided not to take it, just like the team before them. But they play a little bit worse, and the defense in the second half gets a little tired, whatever, and the inferior teams score points. And so Minnesota did what they had to do. It was a 7.5 point spread. They just came back in the end and won by 7. But I expected the game to be a little close, only because Minnesota was coming back from London. That's the second time they play the Bears. I'm expecting well, Minnesota doesn't really blow out. I said that last week. They don't really blow out any teams, but if there's one team I can see them blowing out, it's the Bears. I just don't think they're good. So I think Justin Fields only averaging like 11 completed passes a game. Today he had 14, but I don't think they're that good. So
Who is averaging 14?
no, I think Justin Fields coming into this game was only averaging like 11
Okay.
completed passes. Today he had 14. He was like 14 out of 27.
Yeah, he had 15 last week against us.
Yikes.
15. Okay,
But it was nice
so
to watch Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook look like they were alive. I mean, Dalvin Cook had a big game with 94 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Justin Jefferson, I think, had 154 yards, kind of looking great again. He's never looked bad, and most of the time when he wasn't getting passes, it was because they were literally quadruple covering him. But anyways, it's good to see. It's good to see them kind of look like an offense that had some type of direction. But even then, 29 points is not what this offense should get against the Bears.
yeah. Well, but
Barely. Yeah.
you watched the game?
I didn't get to see it.
Okay.
Nah, I didn't get to see it.
I just saw that Chicago was just beating them, but I knew Minnesota was going to come back, and so I kind of watched the comeback a little bit, but that was it.
The
I
Vikings
don't know
got the
why
Bills
you thought
in
that. Like Kirk
a
Cousins,
month.
he needed to stay 500, so this was the week he was supposed to lose to get back to 500. So your
He's on his-
confidence is appreciated, but maybe misplaced.
Okay, well,
4-1.
it's not Michael Irvin confidence where he had us an MVP, so it ain't that high, but
Right.
yeah.
That was funny. You guys got the Bills in 1 month, so you'll be able to know everything right there.
Yeah. So
Depending
GB,
on if everybody's playing.
What will we
you know what
know? I know we're gonna get beat.
but I'm saying if y'all compete and it's a close game, you're gonna feel way different than them getting smoked. That's all I'm saying.
Minnesota competes. They play in close games.
We are going to get smoked against the Bills.
Double-digit loss.
You never know.
Double digit, yeah. And yeah, my definition and Coop's definition of a blowout are different. We're going to lose by probably 2 touchdowns or more. Now the spread will probably be, let's guess, it's in what, 3 or 4 weeks.
I'll say 9.
The spread? No, the spread will be something like 5.5 to 6.
Where do you guys play them at?
We're playing with Buffalo.
In Buffalo.
Oh, okay. I would say 9. I'll still say 9.
Yeah, 6.5. We'll see. Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, 6.5 will be the spread to the Bills on the road, and we're gonna get crushed.
Actually,
and the one thing that Bills do,
I'll say 8.
I know.
I'll say 8.
The Bills are one of the best teams in football when it comes to beating the snot out of bad football teams.
Yeah, I think 28 of their last 30.
Yeah, they take scores and run it up.
Yeah, 18 out of 20, something like that. Yeah,
we could theoretically only have one loss between now and then. We got the Tua-less Dolphins this week. We've got the DeAndre Hopkins back in Cardinals though the week after, but we play them at home. Then we have the Washington Commanders. We saw them and what they can't do tonight. Before we have the Bills, and we have the Bills and the Cowboys back to back. You know, those are 2 games where we will find out something about the team. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where we're going to find out that.
That's tough.
It was a very, very favorable early schedule for us.
Yeah, I saw that. That's tough.
Woo. All right.
We're gonna see. So switching over. Yeah, Raiders, Chiefs.
Let's talk about the best 1-4 team in the history of NFL.
Oh my gosh, man! On paper, right? Like if they could just figure it out, and I'm still staying optimistic because I haven't even seen the team play good yet, and they're scoring points, they're getting out. The defense is making key stops at times, but you got to figure out how to do it in the second half. Biggest thing that's killing us. You got to freaking do it in the second half. Do that. I think that makes all the difference.
Well, I think you got to get more Davante Adams more than 3 receptions and 7 targets. Now he had a great game with 124 yards.
Done it every time, yeah. Did you get it
3 receptions isn't enough opportunity for him to make big plays. They'll figure it out. But,
yeah, that's it. That's why I'm optimistic.
3 receptions, again, 124 yards. You can't argue with that. 2 touchdowns. You can't argue with that.
Big ones too, like huge when they came.
Yeah, and then Josh Jacobs. Monster. I haven't seen him look like that in
back-to-back weeks. Back-to-back weeks, though. He was solid last week, and he was beasting.
7 yards a carry. You know, what was it?
Running over
150 something yards and
144.
I thought it was 154, but
that might be.
Yeah. Anyways, I thought he broke 150. And he also had some receptions. Like I said, I haven't seen him look that good in ever.
Yeah, he was looking monstrous. It's a contract year. I think all those things give me hope, right? The going for 2 and like I understand why you would do it analytically and what
I understand it.
Well, the thought is you're playing the Chiefs anyway. You're playing
KC.
You're playing Mahomes. Take the points if you can get them. Josh Jacobs was running crazy, so I understand giving him the ball there too. I probably would have kicked it.
But everyone argues that they think that the Kansas City Chiefs are such a good offense.
Oh, 154. You were right.
That you have to plan for them to score again. So if you were playing, then you should want the tie, right? Because if a field goal is going to beat you either way, if you think that they're good enough, they're going to go down there and kick a field goal because that's how good the offense is.
That's what I thought.
Then you should want the opportunity to be able to play for 3 or a touchdown and do it on your own terms.
No,
sure. Well, no, I would.
I mean, they lost the game going the other way. So
no,
yeah. And if they'd have scored, they'd have won.
I didn't understand it then, and I don't understand it now.
Number 1 scoring offense in the league. Mahomes, best double-digit deficit quarterback in the history of NFL.
And he didn't score again.
Yeah, that defense.
You took the decision out of your hands and gave it to them by missing the 2-point conversion when you did it.
Oh yeah.
Raiders easily have the worst secondary. Mahomes was going to come back and score. He
didn't.
So he didn't get the opportunity.
It would have happened. The next drive they tried to score, and then they got another chance, and they couldn't convert it.
Yeah.
So there was another drive.
That's why it's 30-29.
Yeah, and
it was 30-29, right?
Yeah.
And so
after they didn't do that, Mahomes got another drive. It stalled. They punted. And then the Raiders didn't convert or get it up there.
Yeah, we stopped.
They didn't succeed.
This was
another opportunity. They did not score on the next drive.
Yeah, we stopped them. It would have been tied. We'd have been talking about overtime now.
Yes.
I still would have went for it.
I get why you do it. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
This-
I could make the argument for it. However, if it was me and I was playing Madden, I'm kicking that every single time, and hoping that we
Absolutely.
get the stop, and then if we can, cool. There was a couple questionable calls. I know everybody was talking about the
Strip
roughing the
sack.
passer call,
Yeah, that
which
was
I
whack.
get, right? And just because of the only reason I get it is because as a Raider fan, I watched Rich Gannon get completely crushed by Tony Saragusa doing that. Rest in peace, Goose. He crushed him. Um, and he was gone. He's never the same again. So I get it. Now it's very hard to stop it in real time, and it was a
The Aaron
fumble.
Rodgers rule.
But right, I
Well,
understand why.
well,
For sure, I
Saragusa
get it.
actually fell on purpose on Rich Gannon. Chris Jones just got a strip sack and kind of went to the
Sure,
side a little bit, so it was a
absolutely
little
agree.
different.
But
It
I
was two
didn't think
different ones.
Chris. Yeah, I didn't think Chris Jones should have gotten that.
Right.
But
no,
it's literally it's the Aaron Rodgers rules. The Viking broke through and did one of these where he put his arms out and landed on him,
Yeah,
dislocated his shoulder, and took him out
yeah,
for 5 games.
yeah, yeah.
that's why
We'll,
you
we'll
protect
talk.
your big investments.
Yeah, well, we'll
And then
talk
next
about that in a
year,
minute. Yeah,
yeah,
we'll
Yeah,
talk about that in a minute.
next year
But
that rule was in place.
yeah.
but Glenn, 2 games this year, 17-point leads evaporated.
Oh, first half they coming out. Second half, I already knew when I was watching another game. One is Mahomes, so you needed to score again, and they stalled out. I knew it was going to happen. They come
Yeah.
out flat in the third, and Andy Reid is one of the best at coming out, making an adjustment, having your team come out and get busy. I knew the Chiefs were going to score. This is how we play each other. Like it's often very close like that. So I think
I
that this Raider team that doesn't have any, I can't say any idea, but maybe a 30% idea of what they're doing, sticking that close with everybody we played, I'm like, there's a lot of potential there in my opinion.
We'll see. You only got 17 games. That potential
Yeah.
better start coming.
I'm
Started
gonna be
coming.
honest. I'm hoping that Davante and them all band together and he's not um, really just hating his decision to leave, because I personally think it was a smart decision. You know, you get to play with your boy, you see how it works out, right? Carr's not, his contract is very team friendly. You could see how this goes. They can, you know, if you felt like they had some kind of vision, I think it's worth being. You're living in Vegas, you're in national commercials, and he's gonna have way more advertising and just money making opportunities in a warm place, not too far from his family. I think all that makes sense. So I'm just hoping everybody's staying together and not, you know, with this loss, the KC trying to file a misdemeanor for pushing the guy. And man, we'll talk about that in a minute. But
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
as long as he stays together, we could be solid into this season and then next year. Like, I think this is going to be a team that may not be playing for the playoffs this year, but you're definitely not going to want to see them at the end of the season if you need a playoff spot.
let's see. Brian, real quick before we move on. Kirk Cousins leads the NFL in fourth quarter comebacks. He has 3.
Yeah, he's the best quarterback in the NFC.
The only reason I'm pumping up is because I got Minnesota winning the division. So I gotta,
Yeah,
I
you've
gotta
been
roll
saying
with
it.
it. Gotta roll with it.
Like I
Like,
said, I appreciate your enthusiasm, although it may be misplaced.
It's all good.
yeah.
So speaking of Davante, you brought it up, Glenn. What you think? Now there are 2 different camera angles. I don't know if you know. One looks
Yes,
worse
you know,
than
I
the
seen
other.
it all.
So
I mean,
yeah.
he pushed man. Okay, we all saw it. He was coming off
Mm-hmm.
the field hot after him and Hunter Renfro collide. That's not.
Mm-hmm.
These aren't excuses. These are just the facts of what happened. Can't push the dude. I get that. Now, after all this extra is kind of where I'm seeing like the idea of just people be trying to get paid, man. Okay, this guy said he pushed him down. He's got, you know, he's assaulted. He's got a possible head trauma, this and that. Bro, you were pushed. I get it. But let's relax. Everybody's trying to get a check. Come on, man. Cool out, bro. Like it's not, that to me is ridiculous. And then I see them basically doxing Davante Adams by putting the court documents up there that show his address on Twitter, bro. Come on, man. That's absolutely poor, poor, horrid journalism.
B.
Did they actually put his address, or did they put his attorney's address?
No, that had to be. It was in Danville. Shout out to out here. I know. I'd assume he'd probably have a house out there if you're gonna
We
be
got
from Betty,
folks out here. Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
okay, let's hope it's the attorneys, right? Either way, just the big deal they're making about that. It showed a lot of different facets of America that aren't all the best. Capitalism. I feel a little bit of racism in there. Just all of it.
What about you, B? What you think?
Yeah, well, look, I definitely don't think that push led to the guy having whiplash, bruises,
Come on.
slight concussion,
Mm-hmm.
2 miscarriages and all the other crap that they put on that document. That said, you got to keep your hands to yourself. You know that.
Yeah.
I don't think it should. I mean, the max penalty for this is 5 months and $1,000
Yes,
fine.
foolish.
So can we just like get to the point where he writes the $1,000 check, has the has some whatever intervention class or whatever, and then move on to whatever the civil is going to be. But people are like,
I
oh, he's going to
agree.
get millions. There's no damn way that they should settle for that kind of money for this type of an incident. That's when you go, because there's a reasonableness standard that I think would apply in a jury trial. Because I'm just applying myself, and maybe all of us. If someone comes in and says that push equals all of that,
Yeah,
I
no.
instantly, as a juror, would turn against the dude for being so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And
If
it
you're on that
probably wouldn't
jury,
work out.
would
Yeah.
a jury of made of people in KC? Hopefully y'all have good sense. It wouldn't be ridiculous. If it shouldn't even go there though. Why am I playing?
No,
There ain't gonna be no jury trial in this.
no.
If they came back and asked me for $1 million to settle it, it would be. I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I was on a jury one time. Before I actually, let me give my take on this. First of all, yeah, he shouldn't have pushed him. I agree to that. But if you look at it from a different camera angle, I don't think Davante was even looking. I don't even think this guy was looking. He just came right in front of him.
Yeah.
And he pushed
Davante said
him.
he chucked him because he was in a bad mood.
And which
Yeah,
is, and which I understand, dude is all up in front of you, whatever, which you can't do. And I guess since he filed charges, I guess the NFL has to take it or whatever, has to take it seriously. But I think he's going to get suspended. I think he's going to get suspended a game. And the reason why is because they suspended Mike Evans a game for pushing Lattimore, and Lattimore is an actual NFL player. This guy isn't. So, I mean, if you set the president pushing or doing something like that as a game, I'm sure he's going to get at least a game for his action. But
you
also,
want to know why I don't think they're going to do it?
I hope not.
Because
That's
they have
foolish.
to do it before the start of the next football week, and it's Thursday. If we had done this yesterday, I'd have said there's still a chance.
Yeah.
But after the football week has started, I mean, they could do it next week, or they could do it when he gets. But
right. Yeah,
but
we'll see.
historically,
That's so stupid.
and you use Evans as the example.
Yeah.
That was levied out by Tuesday afternoon.
Okay.
And then they did the appeal, and before the Thursday game started.
Yeah. And I think also let's take to account though, your reputation. I mean, Davante is a good dude. If you ask anybody that knows him, his family,
Sounds like
he's a good dude. So it's just like, it's not like he has a history of doing this. So I don't
Evans
see.
did.
Yeah. So right. So I don't.
Lattimore.
Right. So I don't
Yeah.
see this being too severe. I'm with you, B. This guy ain't gonna get millions. He's just trying to get a check, Glenn, like you said. So
yeah, it's foolish.
that's pretty much, that's it.
I just hope Davante's not. I hope he has good people around him who are just like, man, we're cool. Like the team, everybody's cleaving to him. Like we're not even tripping. Everybody's working together because I think this team has a lot of potential. Just off what I've seen, even the defense was making key stops. In all these games, we've had the ball with a chance to win, and we have the offense that should be able to score. They just haven't figured it out yet.
They got to the 46, before they just couldn't get it.
Sure. And that the catch over Davante's shoulder, when I get it, it was on his fingertip. Davante Adams, there's no possible way that ball doesn't get brought in. But I understand how the rule is written. You have to have full, firm control with 2 feet down. But, man.
And Renfro needs to be cognizant of where he is.
Well, I don't know if you think he's still, I've never had a concussion. Could he still be?
No. That was just because the play that they were running, Renfro was to cut in
the routes
and then cut back out.
Yep.
What he didn't see was that they jammed Davante, and so Davante's supposed to be gone by the time Renfro makes his cut back to the outside. Because he got jammed, he was a step slower. Renfro turned and just wasn't paying attention. Didn't realize that Davante got held up at the line and was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Because usually Davante gets a free release.
Almost every time.
He's running down the field. Renfro cuts over, and there's a gap in time. And so that gives the quarterback the opportunity to throw Renfro to the outside on the or go deep to Davante. But because Davante got jammed at the line, that timing got thrown off. Renfro is the one in that situation who has to recognize it and stop his route short.
Yeah.
But and that's not I don't want to blame him, but it was his thing. But it's easy to understand why he wasn't able to make that the right decision in a split second. Ultimately, we still don't know if they were going to complete the pass or the play or whatever.
For sure. I wanted to see at least try because Davante caught some crazy.
But
either way, that to me was like, if you have with a solid offensive game plan that you can enact on the field, I think we have a chance because of the pieces that are there. They can figure out how to, like, because it's a lot, I'm sure, for Carr to understand and figure out where all the routes are going and all the play calls and where everybody's going to be. But if he can figure that out with those players on this team, we could be very dangerous. Will they put it together? Yet to be seen. I'm also kind of hopefully looking forward to like the next years. If you can keep this core and figure it out, you know, one preseason without playing any games, one off season may not be enough time to install that whole system. So anyway, so that's what happens. Looking forward to any other games that you guys saw last week that you were
I'm just gonna do a
thinking of.
quick rundown, man. It's laughable that Green Bay lost to the Giants. That's just funny as hell to me that they lost.
Hey, Giants have won games, sir.
Green Bay's having these large spreads every week, 8, 9, 10 points, and people don't understand. It's just not that kind of team. They don't have a number one, no number two receivers. They're not dynamic. So that was kind of funny how they lost to the Giants. But also another game, Detroit. Everybody can finally calm down. Detroit, they're not that good. They play a lot of indoor games, and they just got shut out in New England by a quarterback. I think his name is Brady Zappi or something like that. So
Yeah,
notice that.
they're figuring it out.
Teddy Bridgewater took a little hit, and then he was out for the rest of the game. Messed up my little point spread thing.
Bro, I can't take no Dolphins QB. Every time I get one, to get knocked out the game.
Yeah,
and can't throw a touchdown first. Now that's horrible to say because
So
the
the
man's
next
injured
time
off
that
the right.
the Detroit plays outside though is against the Bears in 4 weeks. So
and you know Jared Goff has never run a game.
They go to the Cowboys. They go to the Cowboys and it's there. They have the next two at home. Those are all domed again. And then Bears and Giants back to back. Those are outdoors. They don't have a lot of outdoor games. If they could win all indoor games, which I'm not saying they'll do, but they would be pretty. They'd be okay.
Yeah. Jared Goff has never won a game outside of Detroit since he's been that quarterback. Atlanta got hosed.
He's great. Just ask our friends.
Actually, I know, right? Atlanta got hosed. That Houston Jacksonville game, Brian, we had talked about where it was Jacksonville -7. Houston won 8 straight against them. Now it's 9. So I don't know what's going on in that series, why Houston always beats them, but they do. And then lastly, Baltimore, that was a good game. Lamar won that with his legs. And then that last game, Justin Tucker.
Hey, going back to the Texans game, I gave a few names to people at the beginning of the season. I said, I'm skipping out Breece Hall from a fantasy perspective because everybody knows that one. And he blew up. But the guy that I told everyone that people wouldn't be thinking about was Damian Pierce. 100 yards in that last game, a touchdown, and he's now for real.
Madden rating just went up.
He stole that. I told you he was going to steal that spot pretty quickly, and when he gave it, he was never giving it back.
Yeah, I got it.
Happened.
And then lastly, I don't know if you guys watched the Dallas Rams game. I didn't, but I know the Rams are in trouble because that schedule just gets harder. So
well, we've been seeing off how they've been playing. They ain't it.
Yeah,
not yet anyway. That ain't it.
But that's all I had. Just a rundown of the games I saw.
Cool.
And any rundown? Yeah.
What do you guys think? Unless you had something, B, what do you guys think about this next week? There's actually some fun matchups in here.
Let's talk about them.
Niners and the Falcons in ATL. You gave your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I would take the Falcons plus the points. Like I said, the over-under is only 44. I wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta won that game. I just think, we're getting down to backups now.
Yeah,
Mariota can run.
I might take Atlanta and the points, but I fully expect the 49ers to win that game.
Okay. And then your team, the Vikings, got the Dolphins in Miami. Who's the quarterback?
I feel like this is a trap game.
They don't know.
Then here's the reason why. The Vikings are only a 3-point favorite against a third-string rookie quarterback. Now they get Tyreek Hill back, but I think Vegas has kind of figured out the Vikings a little bit. I think that they realize that they can't put teams away. They give teams opportunities late, and that gives whoever they're playing a puncher's chance. And that puncher's name is Tyreek Hill. And all you have to do is hit him for a 10-yard crossing pattern, and you can score a late touchdown to win a game. When you're going against a third-string rookie quarterback, Vegas should be like thinking that this is going to be a 6.5, 7, 8.5 point game in favor of the Vikings, and they only put it at 3. So that makes me worried.
So I look at it a little differently than you. I look at Vegas as they don't see much of a drop off from Tua to this guy. I just don't think they have Tua very high on their list. So I just think it's going to be only like there's some quarter, like let's just say Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love is the biggest point spread gap in the NFL. That's like 12 points if Jordan Love plays. Between Tua and this next guy, I think maybe it's only a couple points. I don't think maybe it's I think they can probably both do the same thing, and it's
The
not that
drop
big of a
off is from Teddy, right? Because last week they had Teddy. But again,
Oh,
whether they
Teddy,
think that
right.
or not, yeah, whether they
Right.
don't think the drop off is that much, they still only think that the super high powered
Oh, yeah.
offense of the Vikings with Cook and Jefferson and Thielen and superstar Cousins and Irv Smith can only beat the Dolphins by a field goal. That says something. Whether they think the Dolphins are going to score a lot. I mean, with the line is over under 45, so they feel
Yeah.
like there's some offense that's going to and in this game. Um, I think they think the Dolphins have a puncher's chance to win
Yeah.
this game.
Yeah, I do believe
Um,
that part. Yeah, I wouldn't
yeah.
take the Vikings on the road in that Miami weather. I wouldn't do that. No, not at
Okay.
all.
It's a little cooler now, but nah.
I
Yeah.
think the best game I'm seeing of this lineup is the Bills at the Chiefs at
Oh,
125
for sure.
Pacific.
The Bills are favored in Kansas City by last I saw was 2.5 points. Let me tell you something. The Bills have constructed their team specifically to beat the
To beat the
Chiefs.
Chiefs,
This is
absolutely.
this is their Super Bowl, their game of the year. I
Well, this is
got
their litmus test. This is their biggest litmus test.
this is what they want. They want to beat the Chiefs. They feel they should have won last year, which technically they probably should have. But there's no Tyreek Hill. There's a different offense now in KC, but they're still number one scoring offense. But I know
Get
this
busy.
sounds crazy. People always like to say take the home dog. I'm taking Buffalo this game, man. This is the game that this game means everything to them, and I'm taking Buffalo. And I think overall, I think Buffalo has the better team, even though I think KC has the better quarterback. And to be honest with you guys, I don't think this game is close. I don't. I think it's more than more. I think Bill Buffalo's gonna win by more than a touchdown. Seriously, I don't think it's close. That's just my
I
personal
wouldn't mind
opinion.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can
what you
see.
think?
I can see something the same way. So I don't think this is their Super Bowl because I don't think they're going to win this and think the season's a success. But I think that they want to win this game and win at a strong showing so that they can tell themselves, as long with everybody else, that they're really legitimate chance to win a Super Bowl. And they're going to use this matchup to kind of come to that conclusion.
Yep.
I do think the Bills win. I do think that they're going to win by more than a touchdown, probably up where around 10, maybe 10 or 14 points. One or two, a 2-score game. But I do still think that there's a problem that the Bills have that they still haven't figured out. The leading rusher on the Bills is still Josh Allen.
That's right.
You can beat the Chiefs because they play the same type of style and air it out, and their idea of a running game is screen passes, and so on and so forth. It's a very similar style, and I think they will win this game. But I don't know if they can win the Super Bowl until they figure out some way to make sure that good, strong defenses can't make it difficult for Josh Allen to go over the top on him.
Yeah, that's why I never pick them to win the Super Bowl. Hard to run, hard. They don't win close games. What about you, B? I mean, Glenn, you got
Yeah,
I know
mission to
you're a
see.
Raider fan, so I know you look rooting for Buffalo, but do you think they're going to win?
Yeah, I mean, because that's now I'm just looking at the division, right? If it's, I mean, I hope it's like last year, man. That game was crazy. It was one of the best games. We were watching it at the Warriors game
That's
too.
right.
Shout out to Chase Center. But Josh Allen, Mahomes and them after a big win at the crib.
KC came out a little sluggish
Yeah,
against the
Bills can
Raiders.
win that. Very. Raiders
Like,
defense was on them, but yeah, very. Yeah, Bills probably win
yeah,
because
I
they're
got
going to
the
be
Bills.
motivated to beat. They're motivated to beat everybody that's good right now.
They have
And then-
to win this game, like
And
Brian
then the
said.
other, they have to win this game. This is a game that lets them know if they're real or not.
Right.
The other game that I think is really important this week is the Cowboys versus the Eagles, because you got undefeated team versus a 4-1 team.
Yeah.
No matter what you think about both team, it's a divisional game.
Yep.
And there's one loss between them. That makes it kind of a big deal.
Yep,
Eagles are favored by a 6.5.
I'm mad.
They should be.
And
it was 4.5. That's why I'm
Without
pissed. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, why? Maybe it went up because
it did. Yeah.
That's because what Dak's playing? Because Cooper Rush don't lose.
No, but that's hella funny because Dak's playing. No, when it was 4.5, man, I thought I was gonna have a chance midweek to get a wager on, and now it's 6.5. I'm like, oh damn. But the thing about this whole Cooper Rush thing, they're winning, but they're 30th in conversion rate on third down. I mean, their offense is just
Hooking by crook.
not good. It's not good at all.
Philly just looks like a better team.
Yeah,
and
they do.
you just have to go with the better team.
They do.
But there is something to be said for finding ways to eke them out.
Yeah, I'd love us to, because our schedule look way different if we did.
Well, speaking of Philly, they lead the NFL in turnover differential. They lead the NFL in big plays, and they've never trailed in the second half this season. And so I want to ask you. So Brian, I said a couple of 3 weeks ago, I think Philly could really get the number 1 seed. You said you don't think they would. How do you feel right now? Do you still feel the same way, or you think they could? Because that schedule, I'm telling you, is very workable.
Well, look, because they're in the NFC, and because literally nobody from the NFC is doing anything, and I don't believe in the Vikings. Yeah, you're right. I do think that there is a way where they could keep hold of that. Because Green Bay is an obvious team to think that was going to get number 1 seed. They're not going to do it. Tampa Bay is another team. They're not going to do it. Your 49ers, they're another team. They're not going to do it. The Rams, they're definitely not going to do it. I don't even know if they make the playoffs at this point.
Right.
And so the biggest challenger for taking the top seed at this point in time are my Vikings, which I'm not a believer in at this point, and the Dallas Cowboys, who I'm also not a believer in at this point. So I can see it.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl. I'm definitely not saying that. Yeah, but number 1 seed, I can definitely.
I understand it.
Yeah. Is there any other games on here?
I think those were the kind of the ones that were worth
everybody else
real discussion.
Actually, you know what, B? Let me ask you. So these quarterback hits, man. I think the NFL, because they're used to acting kind of swiftly, or at least quicker than baseball does. I think it's going to get to a point. Just let me know what you think, where you're probably not even going to be able to get the quarterback down. Once they're in the grasp, I forgot what game it was. I think it was Mahomes and the Raiders. I think it was that game. They had Mahomes, and I think they even let him hit the ground. They just ruled him a sack, and then that was it. I think
practice.
That's the point. Yeah, I think that's the point we're going to get to.
Red jersey.
I think the gentleman who maybe wasn't the best spoken but had the best point was the gentleman after the Chiefs Raiders game that said, if you want to emphasize that play and that penalty, you should also give the other side an opportunity to challenge it, because it is a bang play, and while they probably wouldn't have changed the decision, I feel like at some point in time you have to do something for the defense, so the defense doesn't feel like they don't have an opportunity to play football without worrying about a penalty on what was just a good football play. Like, there was no intent in that play.
I agree.
There was
the Brady one too. The Brady one.
The Brady one was terrible. That was horrible.
That was so bad.
That was so bad.
And if you want to if you emphasize that, now of course, yes, I know what that means. The minute you allow them to challenge that the roughing the passer plays, you also have to let them do pass interference plays. I personally don't think that's a problem, even if it did get to that point. Whatever, so be it. Use your challenges on whatever the hell you want.
Pretty obvious. Yeah, I'm with you.
So, you know what, B? Now that you said that, Brian, it got me thinking. In college, they have the targeting rule, and they review it.
They review
every single one.
Yep.
You shouldn't have to have a challenge. They should review it. If you call roughing the passer, they should automatically go to the booth and review it, and then the flag stands. Now, pass interference, I don't believe, but roughing the passer,
I agree.
That's a game changer.
The reason why they review it, though, is because the penalty is a lot bigger in college. It's not just 15 yards; it's 15 yards, and you
get out. Yeah.
Now, maybe they could do an escalator where they could call that, review it, and it's either a 15 or 20-yard penalty. I don't know, but something along the lines. Maybe there's two different levels of roughing the passer. I just think that if you're going to focus so much on protecting the quarterback, you have to do something to let the defensive players know that it's just not, a free-for-all on their ability to do what they're supposed to do. Because in that instance, I do think it matters whether there's intent. And they say you can't ref intent. You're a ref. You can ref intent.
Yeah, of course.
You when you saw that play, you could tell whether or not he was trying to do that. Just like Ndamukong Suh, you could tell the difference between when he intended on doing something and when he didn't intend on doing something. You can ref intent, and they probably need to.
Yeah, the Grady Jackson the Brady
Jarrett.
thing, that was just ridiculous. You should automatically be like, man, take back my flag, man. That's
Yeah,
not,
that was bad. He
yeah.
just
So
basically spun him around. It was
right.
he spun with him, and this fool didn't. Brady wasn't on top. He wasn't on Brady or nothing. Just swung him down, and they
Did
called.
Did you hear Brady's response when they told him about it? He's like, I don't throw the flags.
Yeah,
I don't
I bet he did say that.
matter.
I bet he
Yeah.
did say that. He's benefited.
Yeah, I don't throw the
He knew.
But
flags.
that's how the game goes. As long as you're gonna have it to that, right? Like there might be, and it probably should just be more either more views or start taking it out of the hands of the refs. You
Yeah.
have all them cameras. We
No,
can tell what's
right.
going on.
And the thing is, it's like these games are just too. You don't want a playoff game being decided by something like that. You're
We
throwing a. You
shouldn't be
just don't want
talking
that.
about the refs at all. Like I'm not talking about the refs
Right.
in any other game this week that I
You
watched.
know.
Like they took it over. So
So
it
yeah.
happens too much for when you wear silver and black though. Like that's kind of the annoying part. We're always involved in some kind of game with some controversial call. Like to me, the biggest one was the holding on the field goal kick. They called holding on Malcolm
Yeah. I've
Kuntz
never seen that.
on a field goal kick that they Chiefs missed on fourth down. They get a first down and they score a touchdown. That to me was very, very big, especially since that call has been called twice in NFL history. Once against the Raiders, once against the Raiders in 2013 with Khalil Mack.
Yeah,
Twice in
crazy.
history. So to me,
Crazy.
that was also interesting. Like you got to start taking some of these judgment calls, or we got to, if we're going to say that probably there's a penalty on every single play, you're going to have to figure out how you're going to make it work. Like you
Yeah.
can't call
I
this
just feel
one,
like
not that one.
Yeah, you can't. You can check on all these different offensive plays. I think for these really huge
Yeah.
defensive plays, you have to give them the opportunity to challenge it because sometimes the defensive PI for a 40-yard gain because it's at the spot of the foul,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's questionable. Like you'll waste a challenge just to try and get
Yeah.
a coin
Get
flip
that
on
yardage
that
back. Yeah.
for
Definitely.
40 or 50 or 60 yards. These penalties are just too big and
Agree.
too big a decision point to at least not give the defensive players any chance
Yeah.
at
And these,
all of making their case.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah. And the margins in these NFL games is too small. It's not like college. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to
Right.
have to do a better job. Yeah. Something.
Agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
definitely.
good.
What so shifting from that, we aren't even into it yet. I just want to ask y'all, man, straight up. Do y'all at all care about the NBA season? Sometimes silence is deafening, bro.
Between caring about
Oh.
the NBA season and having confidence in my team in the NBA season. So yes, I care to some extent about the NBA season.
What extent?
I will watch games on national television. I will put on the Lakers Sunday game that comes on during the Sunday Night Football game.
Okay.
And have it there. I will probably pay more attention to the Detroit Lions playing the Chicago Bears on that same Sunday night than I will.
Okay. Very, very minimal level of care for NBA season.
It's I'll get a participation trophy at the end of the season.
Well said. Coop, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to Reverend Greg Payton today, in the barbershop. Gary Payton brother, man, and we was just talking. He was like, "You still with the Lakers?" That's the first thing he said when he saw me. I said, "Yeah, I'm going down with the ship." He said, "Yep, definitely going down." But I'm just looking at the Lakers schedule just to start the season. You got the Warriors, Clippers, Portland, Denver, Minnesota, and Denver. So that looks like only Portland is the only one we could probably have a legitimate chance to win. One win, right? Exactly. So we're already going to start off pretty bad, but. You know what, Glenn, I'm really not too much looking forward to basketball. I'm gonna watch a game here or there to see the clown show the Lakers are, but
I agree.
But here's the thing. I was invested in, I watched the games when their team was Sedale Threet, Terry Teagle, Eldon Campbell, Vlade, George McLeod for a split second.
Nick Van Exel.
They were a bad team.
Had that jersey.
Nick, when they got Nick and Eddie Jones, they were bad teams. But I liked the players, and I could watch those games, and I could get behind the players, and they would win games that they weren't supposed to win, and they snuck into playoffs a couple times, and
we knew we wasn't gonna win with Cedric Ceballos. We knew that.
It got taken down by Phoenix. All of that. It was easier for me to support that team and be invested in that team. And right now we have 2 Hall of Famers, maybe 3 of people who think Westbrook, and I have no, I'm not invested like that. LeBron has never been my guy, but I know he's a lot of people's guy, and I think he's playing outstanding basketball for his age. He's still a top 5 player. I like AD, but I hate Patrick Beverly and Westbrook as basketball players, and I do not have any interest in being emotionally invested in their success.
Yeah, and it's bad, man, because they want Westbrook to be a role player, and he's just not wired that way. That's not what he
Role
is.
player, role model. He
right.
He
Model.
play role games.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's just all
role
bad,
model. Maybe
man.
the boy got kids, but
Man,
yeah,
it's bad.
I'm not. I'm gonna be honest. I'll I think when does season start? Like in the next 2 weeks or something?
18th, I think.
Yeah.
So
Well,
today's
like
the
it might be
13th.
on because I live with other people and I got people here that might have the Warriors on or something like that. So like, but I'm not gonna be the one like, oh snap, Lakers are on. Let me go run to the TV. And in the years I've watched every Laker game for years. Obviously we had Kobe and Shaq and we had some good teams, some not so good teams, whatever. But I don't have any I don't really care that much, honestly, about
Season starts Tuesday. Glenn.
Yeah,
Tuesday,
see,
the 18th.
and we play the Warriors and ring night or whatever. Like I'm sure to be on because I'm in the Bay, but I
Our
don't care
best
about it.
chance to beat the Warriors is to beat them on.
Oh, yeah.
ring night. Yeah. That's the
Oh, yeah.
best chance.
Well,
Exactly.
especially, let's not forget Draymond. If I'm on the court with Draymond and Poole, there's
Man, start talking
the
trash.
amount of trash I'm gonna talk, it's unmatched.
Man, you gonna let him just do you like that? You ain't gonna get back at him,
Bro. I'm flinching, and if you flinch at me like you ain't did that with Draymond,
right
exactly.
Talking about how he knocked you out.
Well, you talking trash to me. You ain't gonna talk trash to somebody just tried to hit
It's
you
terrible,
in your jaw
bro.
and knock you out.
We on Draymond, like, hey, what you gonna do here?
We've never talked about all these rumors, which have gotten a lot louder, suggesting that Draymond really wants to be a Laker.
Yeah, see, the reason why I didn't bring that up because I don't want him to be a Laker. So yeah, I didn't bring it up, but
completely agreed. Like, I mean,
I thought he wanted to play in Detroit.
If they traded for Draymond because of his salary, it almost certainly means that Westbrook's part of that deal. He may not end up in Golden State, but Draymond's on a max deal.
Well, I think Draymond is. I think his contract ends. That's why he wants another deal.
But I'm saying if you trade him this year,
right now,
Westbrook has to be part of that deal.
Yeah.
I would I would take Draymond if it meant getting rid of Westbrook.
Oh yeah, I would too. Yeah, I would too. I'll just have to deal with
at the end of the season. Yeah, and then at the end of the season, I'd let him leave too.
Right, exactly, right. Yeah, because I think Draymond knows that Poole's going to get paid. Clay's already got paid. Steph's already got paid. Now Draymond wants his loot, and he ain't getting it. So
Draymond, he shouldn't get it. Like Draymond has had a wonderful career, made a ton of money.
Right.
He's at the point of his career where he is running for title. Staying in veteran minimums or exemptions. Those types of cap scheme gimmicks. That's the rest of his
scheme gimmicks.
Yeah. I give Draymond credit for a second round pick, a guy averaging a triple single. He's put his name out there and won rings.
He was instrumental in them teams. He had
exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's done. Yeah.
There's no doubt that he can. He definitely can help a good team be very good or a very good team win a championship. He has that ability to impact a game in that way, but not at that dollar amount.
Yeah.
Or anything close to it.
But we know what's funny to me
Divide
is
by 10.
how everybody is just assuming that the Warriors are going to be okay, everything's going to blow, or like there's no fractures in the locker room. And Steve Kerr said this was the biggest crisis ever. I
don't know who's assuming that because
a lot of people. We got a cousin that assumes that.
Warrior fans are talking to themselves in the mirror, trying to convince themselves, but they know in the back of their mind, you don't get knocked out. And you be the star player, you're one of the star players, and come back and be like, oh, that's okay.
Yeah, it's all good. Exactly.
If
it's going to bring the team together.
Arrogant as people say he is, which led to this, you have a lot of confidence in him to be able to take his arrogant self and put that behind him.
Yeah,
right? The whole idea is that people think that Poole has gotten a little big for his britches after a really big season, and Draymond chin-checked him as a result. If that's the case, how does that make Poole less arrogant?
Exactly. Right.
Like the only thing, if I were him, the first words out of my mouth when I woke up would have been, Draymond, I hope you enjoy Detroit.
Right. Yeah. Plus, I'm about to get paid too. Yeah. So yeah. And another
I
thing,
mean,
I
you can't
think it's
talk to Draymond about the money. Draymond's already made that money. Pool's
right,
hoping to make it.
right,
Yeah.
right. But yeah, I don't know. I just think if I'm a young player like Kaminga and I see that I just got hit by Draymond, the team did absolutely nothing. I mean, I'm sorry, that would something would just go through my mind. That's just personal. That's just me. Like you didn't do nothing. You just gonna let him
This
get
is an
slapped like that?
this is an
Okay.
existential crisis for the Warriors, and I think that the Warrior fans are talking to themselves in the mirror, trying to convince themselves it's okay
Yeah.
because they know that it's not. And it's one of those things where something goes bad, and you're trying to hype yourself up. It'll be all right. I can
Yeah.
do this. It's gonna. That's what Warrior fans are doing when they're sitting there going, "Oh, you
Yeah.
don't have to worry about us."
Right. And they're just brushing it like,
Yeah,
oh,
we
fights
do.
in practice happen all the time. Yeah, I've seen fights in practice. I've been in them. Nobody just came up to me while I'm just sitting there, just like that. Practice fights happen for different reasons,
And
not
people
like
talk
that.
about how Jordan knocked out Kerr.
Right.
Jordan superstar, the best at the top of his career. Kerr, other guy. Poole, the star.
Right.
Draymond, the other guy.
Right. Right.
It has
It's
never
different.
happened in reverse where you knocked out the star or the main guy.
They
Like,
wouldn't.
no,
Yeah.
it never happens that way. The
They
main
not
guy
the
can do stupid stuff and get away
right.
with it.
Right.
But the other guy, and Draymond is now the other guy. He's a fine veteran player and everything. But Warriors know they need to keep Poole. They can't afford to.
Yeah.
And the Warrior fans, if they trade Draymond and get something and all that kind of stuff, and they win a championship again this year, they'll have forgotten about Draymond.
Well, yeah, that's what they're saying. They're
month
still
in.
expecting a championship.
Yeah. And GB, I don't know if people have said this, but Draymond tried to fight Kerr 6 years ago. People are not talking about that. So I mean, this is
Oh
what
yeah,
Draymond does.
if
So
there's
He
a
looked cockeyed
conflict,
Clay a couple times.
yeah, a big conflict on the Warriors, and you got to guess who's in it. I
yeah,
mean,
right.
everybody's gonna say one guy. So
Right. Right.
and cool, because I know he's fiery, gets down, man. Like it's again, I always want it to be like not downplaying another man,
If,
especially a black man. It's strictly basketball and sports related. But you
and
look at
Poole also know.
KD, you look at Kerr, you look at
Yeah.
Poole now. Like, bro, at some point it's you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if Poole is saying anything to the management, he's saying, had that crap been towards Steph Curry,
Oh,
he would have, they would have told him to leave the gym
right.
and go home and forever.
Yeah,
And if
yeah.
you're
playing.
not going to protect me, who you
Right.
say I'm your future, the
Right.
same way you're going to protect your present and your past and Steph Curry, then
Yeah.
you're not my team.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well,
Max Steels are easier to come by.
I mean, yeah, he'll be playing for the Barcelona Warriors if he had hit Steph Curry. So yeah, be in Spain. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think Poole has the ability, and I don't know, I'd have to look it up, but I think he has the ability, if he gets traded in the middle of this year, he could get his bird rights traded with
Oh
him.
yeah. Yeah.
And if that's the case, and I don't know that it
He'll
is,
get paid. Yeah.
it doesn't even cost him any money to say,
Right.
I want out.
Right.
Yeah. Word up. Well, yeah,
Me or
that's
him.
we're gonna see
Anyways,
what happens.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But I don't believe for a moment that anyone who's saying it's going to be all right believes that.
Yeah.
We're gonna see. So what you guys as we wrap up the show for this week, man, always a pleasure. I don't got a minute to win it. Just shout out to Alex and Flora got married last weekend. That's all I got. What y'all got?
Man, I don't have nothing, man. I'm a Miami Hurricane fan, and I know which games to watch and which not to watch. I didn't watch the last three because I knew we would lose to Middle Tennessee State and some other sorry teams, and
Not good.
North Carolina, who always beats us. So I mean, to any Miami Hurricanes fans listening, we have to wait till next year when we get our new recruits. These are the same players from last year who were losing these same type of games. So
It's
that's
not
the life
good.
of a Miami Hurricane fan. It's bad.
I think you're only talking to yourself. Don't nobody watch no Hurricanes. But go ahead.
On the flip side of that, I don't have much to say either, but on the flip side of that, the USC has a very important game coming this week against Utah, another ranked team. The way their schedule works out, it's very back end heavy. So after Utah, they have a UCLA game, and then they have, I'm sure, a Notre Dame game in there at some point. But anyways, the point being is that they look great. It's fun to watch them. I hope they can find a way to win this week. Their running backs and wide receivers are outstanding. If I'm going to say anything prescient or interesting outside of sports, thoughts and prayers go out to the folks in Ukraine. That conflict war has escalated a little bit in the last week, if you haven't noticed in the news, and it's going to a new level, and it's going to stay at that new level because Russia's getting desperate. So my thoughts and prayers go out to the people, the people who are being victimized and having to leave the middle of their workday and go into bomb shelters because cruise missiles are hitting city targets now. So hope everyone's okay out there.
Yeah, definitely. We'll catch you guys next time. Sports Counterpoints podcast.